So hopefully, .tv Genius, we have a illustrious guest, Louis Wassman, back to really. He's on the front lines. He's not this armchair guy. He's got skin in the game. He actually can talk about what's happening. So we have him hopefully on Thursday. But
hopefully.
Yeah, so just tell me what the hell's going on with this GameStop shit.
Yeah, so from what I understand, again, I don't really know a whole lot about the stock market, but I can tell you that GameStop is a company that is known for giving you $3 of store credit for $500 worth of merchandise when you trade it in. And they're infamous for it. They are one of the more disliked companies in all of the United States.
I mean, early internet memes made fun of GameStop, was making fun of the exchange rate at GameStop. That's remember the early internet memes. Like you bring a whole host of games, you get like $2,
Yeah.
USB cable.
Yeah, and it's $2.25 store credit, right? So GameStop has announced a lot of store closures. Their revenue is down as the video game market has gone to mobile downloads. And
I mean, have you seen a GameStop lately? It's just like empty shelves and cutouts of the games that you download online.
Well, I was getting there, sir. If you let me finish.
Yeah, I'm just giving picture of a GameStop to people.
So the problem is that the gaming industry has shifted from physical copy sales to digital downloads. So if you have a brick and mortar store, you can't sell digital downloads because I can just load up my trusty PlayStation and just buy it from the store directly. So GameStop was forced to reinvent themselves. They started selling toys. They started selling T-shirts, merchandise, collector's items, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards, all you name it.
It became like a damp pawn shop, pretty much. Like they're selling used goods and products. Became like a hood pawn shop. So they might as well start selling gold chains and like old guitars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and Bluetooth speakers
and gold fronts, right? So
some worn out Jordans.
Yeah, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's got a couple of scuffs on it.
Some Jordan 12s that really crease.
Oh yeah, it creased the creases, and the fucking seams look mad dirty, even though you try to clean them. It giving away the seams are dirty.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what it's like right now. So the thing is that the GameStop's business model was going the way of Blockbuster Video. So they started closing stores. They tried to kind of reshuffle their deck and try to convince investors that their stock was still worth keeping afloat, so they wouldn't have to go into Chapter 11 to Chapter 13. Problem is that they had hedge funds that were betting on their demise by short selling them. So a group of, I guess, some people are calling them activist investors. A group of these activist investors are like, fuck you, hedge fund manager guy. And what they've done is they've continued to buy GameStop stock, which is really worthless. It's a worthless stock if we're honest.
I'm telling you, have you been to GameStop? They're like empty shelves. It's like cutouts of like Halo games that no one buys anymore. It's like, it's weird kind of swampy feel to it, because they don't really clean the carpets anymore. So.
And it smells like cold air conditioning in there. Right? So you got like there's a group on Reddit that is kind of dedicated to doing weird meme worthy shit. So they all decided that they were going to
Wall Street Bets.
Right. The subreddit is our Wall Street Bets. And incidentally enough, some people believe that the venerable Louis Wassman is somehow the leader of this group when he only got a shout out from them on their subreddit because of a couple of videos that he has done on this day trader, everyday working man investor versus massive short selling hedge fund, where the day traders continue to buy the stock at artificially inflated prices because the short sellers have kind of purchased futures on more stock than is outstanding.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to try to buy this stock, and they keep doubling down. So what the investors have done is they continue to inflate the price. They continue to hold positions with GameStop, even though GameStop is a dying company. I believe that their stock price went up to over $240 a share from a low of under $10.
Yes, people are already like millionaires off of what's happening right now, just for the past few days. So,
and basically, what has happened is the hedge fund that was short selling on the stock had to get a bailout from another larger hedge fund to keep them afloat because they're down 30% for the year. Normally, every year they're turning over profits of, returns of over 30%. They're down 30% for the year. And that was like last week. Who knows? They might be down even more. So they're throwing good money after bad because they're in this war with, these activist investors. And now you've got these companies like Bed Bath & Beyond who are dying that now have these artificially inflated stock prices because it's not necessarily because people love the stock. It's because people are basically trying to say fuck you to Wall Street. It's a crazy thing that's going on right now.
So pretty much I want to switch it because it's just crazy when normal people organize and actually try to do this, all of a sudden it's like being chastised as activists, or it's like these like lazy, grumpy millennials. It's funny that all of a sudden this is being branded as that, even though they're becoming multimillionaires over it, while these like hedge fund guys are going to totally go broke off of it. I want to switch to the other side about, just like economic disparity in a different perspective as well. And when it comes to like, we're the ultra wealthy, we're talking about the top 0.00%. We're not talking about, you who just got a lease in your car or nothing. Like, we're talking about some real money where people have their money in different countries and stuff like that. This is like, so pretty much what's going on in the pandemic, while people are like, why people are so angry. Look at this. UPS leaps rich rewards from pandemic with strongest performance since 2006. The most wealthiest people in the world have made the most money in over 15 years.
Over $1 trillion in 2020 of added net worth to people
pre-tax, because you can't tax it because it's somewhere else. They can't be taxed because it's somewhere else in the world. So that's why it's important. It says annual pre-tax profit. It's like, okay, this pre-tax profit. Okay.
And you know what's really crazy about that though?
Yeah.
They don't have to pay taxes on those until they sell the shares, right?
Yeah.
But there are specialized credit agencies. There are special credit line issuers that will allow the world's wealthiest to have an unlimited credit line borrowed against the equity of the stocks that they own. So they get to have the benefits, the full benefits of all the stocks that they own without having to sell them.
Yeah.
And if they don't have to sell them, they don't have to pay taxes on them. So they can these guys can purchase $1 billion yachts with these credit lines, and it ain't no big deal.
Yeah. So this is what's happening here. And this is like when it comes to people exploiting things, this is ghoulish.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you have like one of these guys that bought a whole island of Hawaii.
So these people right here, who are part of this, are already been kind of like marred in investigation when it comes to money laundering, because this is money laundering right here. This is trillions of dollars being laundered over the world, untaxed. This is what UBS and these kind of organizations, these kind of financial management. They have really nice names. Financial management firms have really nice names. So it doesn't seem like, like a gambling firm or nothing like that. But so which is interesting here. I want to put a perspective here. Like Wall Street investment banks reported blockbuster results, while like kind of normal banks, like everyday banks that normal people use, have been taking hits because we're poor people. The big banks are somehow making more money. Poor people actually need money, are losing money. Those banks are actually losing money because poor people are not getting the help they need.
You know what's part of the reason why, though?
Yeah. Poor people not getting the help they need. So those banks are failing right now.
Oh, no, it's even funnier than that.
Yeah.
See, the thing is that when the stimulus came out, people started to manage their money more responsibly, which is a bad thing for a consumer-based economy. If consumers stop consuming and they start saving money and paying off their debts, what ends up happening is if people took their $1,200 check and their $600 check and they paid off their credit lines, and that means that these banks are not getting the revenue from the interest on these outstanding balances. So as a bunch of people have paid down their personal debt, that is less profit for the credit card companies. So there's more than just, poor people are not getting the help that they need, but the working class and the middle class are tightening their own belt. They're pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, like you always tell us to do, right? And now it's hurting these major banking corporations.
So, but I also want to pull another thing. Banks are also, so banks are not the victim at all. These big banks are not victim. Fuck those big banks. Even Bank of America, fuck Bank of America. Because I want to show another article. Banks will collect, this is an article from December. Banks will collect more than $30 billion in overdraft fees. They collected over $30 billion of overdraft fees in last year during a pandemic.
And they're going to collect less this year because people are slowing down their spending. So they're not going over. The heavy consumerism is not there like it was.
Even though just because we're in the Trump nightmare, like federal regulators encourage banks to waiver the overdraft fees, but fuck that, because Trump was president, so nothing like that was happening at all. Nothing. So that's how they made $30 billion last year over overdraft fees. And that's like making money off of poor people. Overdraft fees mean you're making money off of people who don't have money. Mm-hmm. How ghoulish is that? Mm-hmm. Jesus will come off the cross and hit you in the back of the head over that. This is crazy. Buddha, Muhammad. I don't know. This is like this unholy what's happening right now, this kind of stuff, Mm-hmm. So like we have this GameStop situation. This is why people are doing this kind of thing. There's a lot of reasons why people are like, I'm gonna make my money and you're gonna go broke because you guys are scoundrel vultures this whole time, So exactly this kind of situation. So this is why we have the segment Dash and Bash. So now people get more of a sense why we call it Dash and Bash. It's about corporate people running. While we're worried about looters grabbing Louis Vuitton bags in like 14th Street last summer, people are making
some sneakers.
This is what people remember that stuff.
Sneakers. We got these people stealing billions of dollars. Oh, somebody took a pair of sneakers. They're so horrible.
No, they go into the Target. They're raiding the Target. How you compare raiding the Target to raiding the U.S. Capitol? How you compare someone making billions of dollars, record profits, making like 6 digits an hour? There's people like that right now, just making passive income, not doing nothing. So that's Dash and Bash right there. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Black Power Magic Hour. We're on Twitch. The audience, we love you chiming in, tuning in, and Dr. Genius, he's on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube.